There's no better way to get better at football than playing football. So if you want to,
Taylor's going to finish it.
I've always been confident in my abilities. I think, I'm a guy that can go out there, and I always believe in myself that I'm going to get open and make the play if they throw me the ball.
The third. Ryan, end zone shot for Pierce. He caught it.
Oh, what a... Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Colts Cast, part of the Pigskin Podcast Network. We're here to talk about everything and anything Indianapolis Colts. My name is Eric Smith, of course, co-host of the Colts Cast. Alongside me, as always, I have co-host Jamal Lawrence here.
Yo.
Please be sure to follow us on social media. Twitter handle is at the Colts Cast. Instagram is at Colts Cast. Just search up the Colts Cast. You'll find us. Beautiful logo is going to pop up. Check us out on YouTube as well. We post all our episodes on there. Please like, subscribe, comment, everything. We love engaging with our community on there. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get right into it. The Shane Steichen hire, still feeling good in our minds. Everyone's hoping he takes our offense to that next level. I really hope so too. So if he does elevate our offense, what is it going to look like? What are we going to see the Indianapolis Colts implement? We kept hearing, and it's a great model, throw to score and run to win. But what does that actually entail? That's what Jamal and I are going to explain on today's episode. So Jamal, go ahead. Take it right from the top. What is this playbook going to look like?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm super curious to know as well, because when I think of the throw to score and run to win, I can see that going in a lot of ways, especially as what we've seen with how the Eagles play this season. But before I kind of go into that, I wanted just to take a trip down memory lane and talk about the Colts playbook for the exact same time. I want to talk about, or I say playbook, but I more so mean run to pass ratio versus Shane Steichen's past 3 years of run to pass ratio. So taking it off at 2020, it would have been Phillip Rivers' year. Colts ran 459 rushing attempts, and they threw 552 passing attempts. So that was about a 45.4% run, 54.6% pass. 2021, of course, that would have been Carson Wentz, JT's explosive year, 499 rushes, which equaled about 48.9%, and 521 passes, which equals 51.1%. And of course, this past year with Matt Ryan, 439 rushing attempts, which was about 42.1%, and 604 passing attempts, 57.9%. So the Colts have been pass heavy here these past couple of years, even with JT's having that outstanding year. So I kind of wanted to touch on that just to see how this could possibly flip for the better or flip for the worse, depending on who you are and what you want to see. So then we move forward to Shane Steichen, 2020 with the Chargers. This would have been Justin Herbert's rookie year, which he won Rookie of the Year that year, 466 rushing, which is about 42.6%, and 627 passes, which is about 57.4%. Bump him up to 2021 with the Eagles, 550 rushing, which was the second highest in the NFL at 52.7%, and 494 passing attempts, so it's about 47.3. And of course, this year, their Super Bowl run, 544 rushing attempts, which is just over 50%, and 536 passing, which is just under 50%. Say all that to show you that when he had a different quarterback in there with Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts, we kind of see a difference there. This makes it an interesting case for me, because I do look at the quarterbacks who are in the draft, the CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, who are more the pocket presence, kind of like a Justin Herbert. I still look at this to be a kind of a pass heavy system for Shane Steichen moving forward, because we're not going to have all those design RPOs or those design draws that Jalen Hurts had for the Eagles, because you're not going to have CJ Stroud running the ball like that. You're not going to have Bryce Young, if either of those two of the quarterbacks, doing that. Will Levis, probably. Anthony Richardson, more so probably, yeah. But I think it'll be a little more settled back, still a little pass heavy to try to get that ball downfield to score, and then it's going to be the running the ball when we need to. But at the same time, I have to remember that we do have a weapon in Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, coming back off of a surgery. I think it could be a big comeback season for him, especially with knowing that we're going to have a young quarterback potentially a young quarterback in the backfield. So I'm kind of on the fence. I'll make my final decision before we wrap up, Eric, and I'll kind of go a little more detail about that. But I just wanted to give just a quick little balancing act for what we've seen here for the past few years for us versus what kind of we've seen it fluctuate for Shane Steichen.
Yeah, I think you illustrated that pretty well. I think the key word here for Steichen is going to be that adaptability. Like you were talking about. I don't think we're going to be a one-dimensional offense in any degree. Like the Tampa Bay Bucks, had a 45-year-old Tom Brady just chucking it 45 times a game. That's never going to work if you can't establish a run. You still need that. Or like Chicago, all they did was run the ball when they really needed to. Whether it was Khalil Herbert, Justin Fields, David Montgomery, they just they didn't trust their offensive line. They didn't trust their play call, and they didn't trust anything for Justin Fields to get the ball into his receiver's hands. So they try to get it done on the ground. But I think, Philly, when you look at the Philadelphia offense this year, they were effective on the ground and through the air, despite, being that balanced offense. I mean, they were just that good on offense. So, depending on game flow and script, I think he's going to do whatever it takes to win. But I heard you touch on RPO a little bit. So I kind of want to argue the other side because, when we talk about the play calls, what that's going to look like, what the playbook's going to look like, I feel like we have to maybe expect a lot of RPO. If I put a big if we draft a quarterback with similar attributes like Jalen Hurts, that's a run pass option for everybody who doesn't know. But, I really feel like Steichen's going to put the defenses on their toes. They have to either stop the run or stop the pass. You have to make a decision. If you make the wrong read, of course, and our quarterback makes the right read, we're getting a first down, theoretically. I love it. It needs to be executed properly, though. Offensive line has to block for the run. Can't get called for a penalty going up too far if they decide to pass. QBs have to be able to process the reads quickly and correctly. Wide receivers have to run those good short routes to get open if we do decide to pass. Things like that. So, RPO, because I don't know if you know this, but I think the Eagles ran the most RPO out of any offense. I can't confirm that, but just from watching Philadelphia football, watching some games, they do utilize a lot of RPO. So if we do draft a quarterback similar to Jalen Hurts don't even really have to be that mobile. You just have to be able to read the defense. I could see it implemented just because Steichen has ran it a lot, So if I had to make a bet, the Eagles definitely ran the most RPO out of any team in the league.
No, that's a fair bet, and I'm glad you kind of mentioned that because I want to go into a little more detail with that from just a different, I shouldn't say a different standpoint, but kind of like you mentioned, where you don't have to be the most athletic quarterback to be able to run that. So, but first I want to just give a quick shout out to DraftKings, our partner. NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no sweat same game parlay every day. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in, and place your single game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, you'll get a free bet back. Now, Eric, anybody who watched the All-Star stuff last night, I don't know if you did. I bet on Tyrese Halliburton to pull it out for the 3-point contest, and I got so excited after he hit 31 in his first round. But it wasn't fair, man. They let him sit for way too long. He was a second shooter, so by the time he got back to go up for the finals, he wasn't feeling it anymore.
Dame Dollar.
Yeah, he finally got his chance. But I'll be betting tonight on the All-Star game. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. But download the app now and sign up with codes TPPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 back in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details.
I would say you have to be somewhat athletic. Like you can't be a statue like Matt Ryan and run
Yeah.
the RPO. Yeah, you do have to, roll out to your right, scramble a little bit if you decide to pass and get that pass, that short pass right. But yeah, you don't have to have Lamar Jackson type speed to be in that offense.
No, you're right, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that would sway kind of my thought process of what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned that. Of course, they had a lot of design runs for Hurts and they ran a lot of RPO because I do definitely think that CJ or any of the four quarterbacks, CJ, Bryce, Levis, or Anthony Richardson, they could all thrive in that because you do have that dual threat back there. You have a two-headed monster. If we have a Bryce Young who can get the ball out whenever they need to, and or CJ who can roll out when they need to, you got JT who can get the ball and do something with it. And we even saw some good things from Zach Moss this season as well. So I do think that setup would be good for us because we were very one-dimensional this year. And I think that it was very easy, obviously when we're behind as much as we are, we have to just throw the ball every single time. You mentioned Tom Brady earlier, throwing it 45 plus times a game. Same thing we saw with Matt Ryan a lot this year. We have to get rid of that. So I should kind of retract what I said about the RPO portion at the beginning because I was thinking more so design runs than RPO. So I do agree that I think it would be very beneficial to have a system set up like that when we have a quarterback who can get the ball out on a dime. We have a running back who is shifty enough to make a big play, and we can crowd the box with that. And that's really essentially what we want, especially if we're going to have the deep ball threats and Alec Pierce or have if we re-sign Paris Campbell and we have MPJ, and those are our three, leading receivers there, and Jelani Woods, of course. That gives a better chance for us to be able to get the ball out until they respect it, and then we can run the ball again or do whatever we need to. So, I do think it would be nice to see. I think my biggest thing that I'll be curious to know though was with the potential rookie coming in. Of course, we cannot say that's going to happen yet because we don't know. But we suspect it will happen. Would you expect JT to get a heavier workload this year, or you think that because again, I look at it's hard for me. I know that the Eagles had a very balanced offense, but they also, the run game was heavy for them. I should have looked up to see how many attempts of these were just Hurts because I know he ran the ball a lot, but they also have AJ Brown, they have Devontae Smith, their receivers, so they have the ability to be, even split and still be super effective. So do you think with the potential 2021 style JT coming back that Steichen will be more so wanting to utilize that run, even though he said the run to win, or do you think that he's going to try to get this ball out and see what these receivers can do?
I think it depends, as we saw in Philly, it was almost like a four-headed monster. They had Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, and then Jalen Hurts, of course, on the ground. So, any one of them were getting the ball at least 4 to 5 times a game, it seemed like. So, could we see something like that in Indianapolis? I don't know if we have. I would say maybe, because we saw what Zach Moss did in his few games that he started.
Yeah.
We saw what Deion Jackson can be in the absence of Jonathan Taylor. And then we know what Jonathan Taylor is. So, yes, the workload could definitely go down for JT because, like, under Frank Wright, JT was, the bell cow running back, lead back. He's getting 20, 25 touches a game. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee that for JT going forward, especially with his injury history this year. So it's yet to be seen. But if I had to make a bet, it would be he gets a lighter workload, kind of depending on the quarterback we draft, the OC we bring in. It's a lot of factors, but you didn't really see the Eagles running backs. They didn't have a super heavy workload every game. So
Yeah, you're right. They didn't, and again, like you said, I think it goes back to having 4 people in the backfield and also having some elite, receivers out there as well. So I'd be curious to know if that's something that we'll touch on with our receiving core this year. But one more final point I want to just kind of bring up, what, as you mentioned just a second ago, about what OC we bring in. What we think JT's workload will be. I know that Steichen also said in his press conference that it's going to kind of be a week by week thing for him. So, or a game by game decision for him on what he wants to do, whether it be pass heavy or run heavy. So I'm excited to see how he makes his adjustments, throughout the games. Maybe we go into, he's been battle tested now against teams who have come in and they've had to bring their best defense for them week in and week out with the Eagles. So I'll be curious to see how he can make those adjustments, because that was a very high flying offense. And I feel like even with the playmakers they had around them, I mean, a lot of that have to come from up top as well, from being able to have good people up top who can read the defense to kind of get an idea of what's going on and figure out how to let the playmakers do what they can, but set them up for success as well. So
I think we're gonna have to have a superior offensive line. That's what the Eagles had. You got to give them a lot of credit for their success. Just how well their blocking was. It just seemed like every time they had a runner going up the middle or on the side, that they always had an open running lane, and it was crazy. I mean, Jason Kelsey, just playing at a phenomenal level at his age. Things like that. I want to see our O-line improve, and then see what our playmakers can do at that point. But yeah, you talked about QB design runs. I would love to see that if we get the right quarterback. I've talked about read option before, a little different than RPO, but that would require a mobile QB. Things like that. Jelani Woods, you mentioned, I would love to see him go to another level. We've already seen what he can do. Now, just imagine what is he going to look like when he's going to be some lead. He may be a leading receiver in a lot of games.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, he is a threat, and I want to see if Steichen uses him. Like, why didn't we utilize him? Was it just the run blocking? Was that it? Can he develop? Things like that. There's a lot of questions to be asked. And then pushing the ball downfield. We're definitely going to get some more aggression going forward.
Yeah.
Not just like, fourth down, we got to go for it, even if it's 4th and 3, but just more of, hey, we just got a first down. Let's take a shot downfield. Set up Alec Pierce on a go route. Boom. Alec Pierce may get more involved. Like, I don't know. Steichen about to add some spice to this offense. Like that's what I honestly think. And whoever we draft to is not going to have a noodle arm. So like things are going to change. Like
that's what I'm thinking. It can only go up from here, right? I mean, we should be able to see this year. We should be able to see players not get targeted 10 times one game and then have 0 the next game. I think it should be a smooth, well-oiled machine the entire time. Like you said, just the ball going out, boom, 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 boom. Anyone and everyone is free game for. I think that he has what it takes to, or he's gonna bring in that demand to be like, hey, everybody's equal on this team. Let's get out there and make it happen.
Yeah, we don't really have. I mean, you could say Michael Pittman's our number one, but I feel like that's just been de facto. No one's tested him. Hey. About to get battle tested this year. I don't know if we get it right, QB. That's the biggest question. That should be our podcast episodes for the next 10 episodes. Like, who's our QB gonna be? That's gonna be the question for the next 2 months, man.
Yeah.
And it's gonna change everything. But we got the Shane Steichen hire. We feel like we've gotten that right. So of course we're set in sail. We're set in sail, baby. And it's looking good. And that playbook is gonna be it should be. It should be way better, more explosive, more complex to a degree. That's what I'm predicting.
Yeah.
That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast today. We're live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. We'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Go Colts, everyone.
Oh yeah, take care.